warm welcome to Landmark Case Analysis, which is presented to you by 𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃. This is 𝗳𝗃𝗀𝗃 here. Let's proceed with today's discussion on the case Maneka Gandhi versus Union of India. This is a landmark judgment given by the Honorable Supreme Court of India on 25th January 1978 by a 7-judge bench. It is a very important case in the history of India as it immensely expanded the scope of Article 21. Also, it set a benchmark for coming generations to seek their basic rights even if they are not mentioned in the Part 3 of the Constitution. Secondly, this judgment also opened a new dimension for judicial activism based on which today we see the social, economic and cultural rights have been established like right to clean air, right to food and right to livelihood. Now let's have a look at the brief background of this case. Maneka Gandhi was asked to surrender her passport by the Regional Passport Office, New Delhi. Upon asking the reason why she has to submit her passport, the Ministry of External Affairs refused to produce any reason in general public interest. So she filed a petition under Article 32 of the Constitution with the Supreme Court, stating that the seizing of her passport was a violation of her fundamental right, specifically under Article 14, Article 19 and Article 21. Maneka Gandhi was asked to surrender her passport under Section 10, Subsection 3C of Passport Act 1967. Section 10, Subsection 3C gives the power to the Passport Authority to revoke any passport of any resident and also the travel documents of the residents. So this provision violated her fundamental right, therefore she challenged it and also asked whether such legislation is a concrete law. The other issues of law involved in this case were whether right to go abroad is a part of personal liberty and whether it complies with Article 21. What is the connection between rights guaranteed under Article 14, 19 and 21 of the Constitution of India? Whether principles of natural justice applies only to quasi-judicial orders or it applies to administrative orders also. Let's have a look at the judgment and reasoning given by the court. This judgment expanded the scope of Article 21 exponentially and it truly made India a welfare state as promised in the preamble. Also, the Supreme Court observed that fundamental rights as mentioned in the Part 3 of the Constitution have been cherished by people of India since the Vedic times. It protects the dignity of individual and creates conditions in which every human being can develop their personality to the fullest extent they can. But these freedom cannot be absolute, as absolute and unrestricted freedom of one may be destructive to the freedom of another. Based on these, the major findings given by the court are as follows. In this judgment, the court held that the scope of personal liberty should not be construed in a narrower and stricter sense, and therefore Article 21 has been given the widest amplitude through this judgment. Also, it has been given protection under Article 19, Subclause 1. And this judgment obligated the future courts to expand the horizons of Article 21 and cover all the fundamental rights and avoid construing it in a narrower sense. In this judgment, Supreme Court for the first time recognized due process of law, which was declined in the 𝗱𝗃𝗀𝗃𝗀 case. And it also stressed that though our Constitution holds procedure established by law under Article 21, however, this procedure cannot be arbitrary or irrational. It has to be just and due. In addition to it, any restriction imposed on Article 21 has to pass the test imposed by Article 14 and Article 19. Regarding the question of natural justice, the Supreme Court held that natural law rights must be absorbed into our fundamental rights and its value should be reflected by the interpretation of the fundamental rights. Also, it reinstated that a divorce between natural law and our Constitution would be disastrous. regarding the exercise of constitutional rights of Indian citizens on a foreign territory, the Supreme Court held that the Indians cannot claim to be governed abroad by their own constitutional and personal laws, as these laws do not operate outside India. However, regarding right to freedom of speech and expression, Indian citizens are entitled to exercise that right wherever they choose, regardless of their geographical consideration. Also, the court held that Section 10, subsection 3C of Passport Act 1967 is not violative of Article 21, 19, and 14 of the Constitution of India, as it provides for opportunity to be heard. So, this was all about this case. Thank you.